Without
I
me,
trust you all
you're
enjoyed
nothing,
tonight's presentation.
Alexander said, loud enough for
Thank you
everyone
for
to
joining
hear.
us.
Charlotte didn't react. She didn't defend herself. She just stood there, eyes steady, while the room believed him. Crystal lights burned overhead. Cameras caught every second. But what none of them saw was the way her fingers tightened around a small leather clutch. Inside it, a folded document pressed against her ribs. A truth he never earned the right to know. The music faded. Conversations resumed. And still, she said nothing. Because Charlotte Bennett wasn't just standing beside Alexander Reed. She was the one who built half of what he claimed. The silent strategist behind every deal he bragged about. The one who fixed the contracts, the numbers, the risks he never understood. He took the credit. She carried the weight. And tonight, he crossed a line he could never walk back. You needed me, he added, colder now, closer. That was the moment something shifted. Not loudly, not visibly, just a quiet break deep inside her chest. Charlotte inhaled slowly. Then she reached into her clutch. Not for the document. Not yet. Instead, her fingers found the ring. The one he gave her when everything still felt equal. She slid it off, smooth and steady. No shaking. No hesitation. The diamond caught the light one last time before she placed it on the table between them. A soft sound. Almost nothing. But it echoed louder than his words ever could. And when she finally turned away, walking past the cameras, past the whispers, past the man who thought she needed him, he still didn't realize he had just lost the only person holding his world together. The next morning, his inbox filled with red alerts. Deals stalled without explanation. Numbers did not match projections anymore. Alexander frowned, scrolling faster, jaw tightening with each report. A senior partner called, voice sharp, asking about missing revisions. He paused, confused, because those revisions were always done overnight. By her. The legal team flagged 3 contracts with silent errors. Small mistakes, but expensive if ignored for too long. He dismissed it at first, blamed his staff, blamed timing. Then the second wave hit before noon. A supplier pulled out, citing unclear terms in the agreement. Terms Charlotte had always rewritten before anyone noticed. His assistant stepped in, hesitant, holding a tablet close. Sir, these files were last handled by Charlotte. He said nothing, but his grip tightened. By afternoon, the board started asking questions. Not loud yet, but different, careful, watching him closer than before. His name was still on the door, but the control felt thinner. A system he never questioned began to show cracks. Then something worse. A confidential client requested confirmation on a clause only Charlotte knew. No one else had access to that version. He stared at the screen, silent, because he did not even know where to look. His assistant spoke again, softer this time. She handled all final approvals personally. That word lingered. All. The room felt different now, colder, less certain. He looked around at people waiting for answers he did not have. For the first time, Alexander Reed was not ahead of the room. He was behind it. And somewhere across the city, Charlotte Bennett was no longer fixing the damage before it happened. She was letting it unfold. One by one. Quietly. Completely. And the question no one dared ask, yet began to surface anyway. How much of his empire was actually hers? 3 weeks later, a private investor meeting filled a quiet downtown office. Charlotte stood at the head of the table, calm, focused, no ring, no shadow behind her name. A man across from her leaned forward, studying her proposal carefully. You built this model yourself? He asked, not doubting, just confirming. She nodded once, simple, steady. The room shifted. Not loud, but real. Another investor closed his folder slowly, then pushed it back toward her. We have been looking for this structure for years, he said. No one interrupted. No one dismissed her. Phone stayed down. I stayed on her. That had never happened before. A woman beside the window spoke next, voice sharp with interest. If you lead this, we will fund it. That word landed different. Lead. Not assist. Not support. Lead. Charlotte did not react right away. She just inhaled, then gave one clear answer. I do not build anything halfway. A quiet pause followed, then heads nodded around the table. Decisions moved faster now. Contracts were mentioned. Timelines discussed. Her name written down, not as an addition, but as the center. Across the city, Alexander sat in a boardroom that felt smaller than before. Another deal slipped through his hands that morning. A partner chose a different firm, citing stronger structure. He stared at the report longer than needed. Then he noticed something. The language. The same precision. The same clean clauses he had seen before. He leaned back slowly, something clicking into place. Who drafted this? He asked. No one answered immediately. Then his assistant spoke, careful, almost hesitant. It is coming from a new consulting group. He narrowed his eyes. Name. A pause. Then quietly. Bennett Strategies. The room went still. Somewhere between confusion and realization, something inside him shifted again. Not anger. Not yet. Something sharper. Something closer to truth. And for the first time, he was not asking what she had taken from him. He was starting to ask what she had built without him. The invitation arrived without warning, printed on thick white paper, placed neatly on his desk. Alexander read the name twice before it settled. Bennett Strategies. Private acquisition meeting. Same building. Same floor. 2 hours from now. He did not hesitate. When he walked in, the room was already full. Executives, investors, legal teams. And at the center of it, Charlotte. Standing, not waiting. Speaking. Clear, steady, in control. No one interrupted her. No one checked their phones. A man beside her shifted his chair slightly, making space as she moved forward. Subtle, respectful, unspoken. Alexander stopped near the door, unnoticed for a second longer than he expected. That had never happened before. Her voice carried across the room, calm, precise. We are not adjusting to the market. We are setting the terms. A few heads nodded immediately. Not agreement out of politeness. Real alignment. He stepped closer now, slower, watching the way people leaned toward her, not away. Watching the way decisions followed her sentences. Someone passed her a document without asking. Another waited for her to finish before speaking. Control had shifted. Completely. She did not look at him. Not once. That was the first imbalance. He was watching her. She was not watching him. The meeting moved quickly. Numbers, timelines, commitments. And every time a question came, it came to her first. Not to him. Not to anyone else. To her. Alexander felt it then. Not anger. Displacement. Like stepping into a room that no longer recognized him as the center. Finally, she turned. Not because of him. Because the presentation ended. Her eyes passed over him like he was part of the background. That was new. He stepped forward anyway. Charlotte. His voice. Held, but barely. She paused. Looked at him. Calm. Measured. No reaction. No history in her eyes. Just distance. Mr. Reed, she said, polite, formal. The room shifted again. People noticed now. The tension, quiet but sharp. He took another step. We need to talk. She did not move. You needed to listen before, she replied, soft, even. No edge. That made it worse. A man beside her glanced between them, then stepped slightly back, giving her space, not him. That was the second imbalance. Not subtle anymore. Visible. He looked at her, searching for something familiar. There was none. You built this, he said, quieter now. Not a question. A realization. She held his gaze for a second. Just one. Then nodded once. I finished what you could not see. No anger. No pride. Just truth. It landed heavier than anything else in the room. And for the first time, Alexander did not have a response ready. Not a defense. Not control. Just silence. Behind her, someone called her name. She turned away before he could say another word. Just like before. But this time, the room followed her. Not him. And as the doors closed behind her, his assistant stepped closer, voice low, careful. Sir, there is something else you need to see. He looked at her, already unsettled. What? She hesitated, then handed him a file. The name on it made his chest tighten before he even opened it. And somehow, he knew, whatever was inside would explain everything he still did not understand. He did not open the file right away. He just stared at the name, breathing slower than before. Around him, the room had already moved on. People packed their things, voices low, but different now. Not centered on him. That was new. His assistant remained beside him, waiting. Not pushing. Just present. Finally, he opened it. The first page hit harder than expected. Not numbers. Not contracts. Names. Projects. Dates. His company's biggest wins, all tied to one line. Reviewed by Charlotte Bennett. His jaw tightened slightly. He flipped the page. More entries. Corrections. Risk flags. Clauses rewritten before anyone noticed. Deals he had taken credit for. Stabilized before they collapsed. Front. walking a team through a live negotiation. Screens lit up, numbers shifting in real time. A partner pushed back on pricing. She did not raise her voice. She adjusted one clause, then another. The tension dropped instantly. The partner nodded. Agreement reached. Clean. Fast. Controlled. Someone at the table said it clearly this time. That is why we brought her in. Not whispered. Not hidden. Said out loud. Heads nodded around him. Alexander stood still, watching. No one looked to him for confirmation. No one asked his opinion. He was no longer the reference point. Back inside his own boardroom, the shift became sharper. A director questioned his last decision openly. Not disrespectful. Just direct. We need stronger structure, she said. He knew what that meant now. Not him. Something he had lost. His phone buzzed again. Another partner delayed a deal. Reason listed simple. Waiting for Bennett Strategies input. He looked at the message longer than needed. That name kept appearing. Not as a shadow. As a replacement. His assistant spoke again, quieter now. Sir, several clients are requesting her specifically. That word settled heavy. Specifically. Not optional. Not interchangeable. He walked back to the glass wall. Charlotte laughed softly at something a client said. Relaxed. In control. Nothing about her needed him anymore. That truth landed deeper than anything else. For the first time, he saw it clearly. He had not just lost her. He had lost what made everything work. And he never understood it when it was right in front of him. He turned back to the file, flipping to the final section. A single document attached. Dated months before she left. His name on it. Her signature below. But there was something else. A note he had never seen before. Short. Direct. Final. He read it once. Then again, slower. And this time, the question was no longer about what she built without him. It was about what she had already finished before she walked away. He read the note again, slower this time. The words were simple, but final. All risk layers stabilized. Final approval secured. No signature flourish. Just her name, clean and quiet. He frowned, flipping back through the file again. Dates started to align differently now. Deals he once called breakthroughs suddenly looked managed. Not created. Managed. He walked to his desk and pulled an older report. The biggest acquisition in his company's history. The one that put his name on every major headline. He remembered the night clearly. Pressure. Deadlines. Chaos. He had walked into the room late, signed the final version, and left with applause. Now he scanned the earlier drafts. Clause after clause marked with revisions. Not by legal. Not by finance. By her. Charlotte Bennett. He stopped at one section. A liability clause he never noticed before. Without it, the deal would have collapsed within months. He leaned back slowly. The air felt different now. Thinner. His assistant stepped closer, placing another folder on the table. You should see this one too, she said quietly. He opened it without speaking. Thing left to do. He did not wait this time. He walked straight across the hall. Past the glass. Past the assistants. Past the hesitation he never used to feel. Someone tried to stop him at the door. Sir, she is in session, they said carefully. He did not slow down. She will see me, he replied, sharper than needed. Inside, the room was quiet but focused. Charlotte stood near the screen, mid-discussion. She did not turn when he entered. That was the first signal. She already knew he was there. And it did not change anything. A senior client glanced at him, then back to her. Waiting. Not for him. For her. That was the second signal. Alexander stepped closer, voice lower now. Charlotte, we need to talk. Now. The room held still for a second. Then she raised one hand slightly. Not to him. To the room. Give us a moment, she said, calm, even. No tension in her tone. People stood without question. Papers gathered. Chairs moved. Instinct now. Old pattern. Old belief. She did not react. Not even a breath change. No, she said simply. I outgrew you. Silence filled the room again. Thicker this time. Final. Outside the glass, people were already waiting. Not for him. For her. A knock came at the door. Light. Respectful. We are ready when you are, Charlotte, someone said. Not Mrs. Reed. Not anything tied to him. Just her name. Her space. Her control. She turned away from him without hesitation. That was the third signal. No pause. No look back. He stood there, alone in a room he once owned, watching the door open for her. Not for him. And just before she stepped out, she paused for half a second. Not to stay. Not to soften. Just enough to say one last thing. You should review the next quarter reports, she said quietly. You will understand what is coming. Then she walked out. And for the first time, Alexander Reed felt something he had never prepared for, not losing her, but losing everything after her. The next meeting was scheduled at sunset, quiet and deliberate. No investors this time. Sat alone in his office. The same glass walls. The same skyline.